Preparing to live stream the meeting. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. And it says we're live on the, it's being live streamed. Got it.
We're now
live streaming. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time, sometimes it doesn't. So if we're already on, fabulous, hello. And if we're not, then we will just take it nice and slow. And
at the top of my page, it just said that we're now live and in your meeting room.
Yeah, we're live. Beautiful.
At the top of my page, it just said that we're now live and in your meeting room.
Perfect. Great. Alrighty. So here we are. Now, there's a really good reason for me pulling Rachel on, because I'm so excited, firstly, about your health transformation, and secondly, about something that you all really need to know about. That is an event that's happening in October. And, I get really excited because I've run several retreats a year, and I collaborate with other like-minded, amazing professionals to bring people into a room and inspire them to make some significant changes in their life. So this is what this is about. It's about Rachel, her event, her amazing health transformation, and why you really need to come to this event, because it's going to be I'm just so excited by the range of speakers that you've got. So tell me, Rachel, about a little snapshot about your health journey.
Okay, firstly, Trish, thank you so much for inviting me to speak with you today. I'm so excited to meet you because I haven't seen you before. We've spoken on the telephone, and I feel really honoured and privileged for this connection. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
My health journey, I was thinking about this morning, and part of my story that I'd forgotten about was when I think it started when I had a head injury when I was at university on the hockey pitch, and I suddenly lost my ability to wing it when it came to last minute revision. I don't know if you were one of those, but that was me. I could just get away with it. I couldn't do it anymore. I had a really nasty concussion, and it was like post-traumatic concussion or something. Banging headaches, couldn't concentrate at university, wouldn't have even thought about what I was eating at that time. And that's when I started to come in, get connected with other ways, complementary therapists, and particularly it was essential oils. And then a few years later, I'd forgotten about my head injury, and I was told by a Reiki master once that Reiki will find you when you're ready. And I was offered to be a guinea pig by a friend. They said, I'm guinea pig, I'm training up to do Reiki. Could you come and, lie on the table? I said, of course. I had no idea what to expect. This was a few years after my head injury. And I literally felt that I was levitating above the bed and going round and round and round in circles. And I said, am I actually lying on the bed? And what it took me back to was that point where I'd had the head injury, and it was showing me the different levels of trauma that had taken place and how it had impacted me, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally in terms of my confidence and all sorts of things. And even though I'd had a head scan, there was other stuff going on that had impacted my overall sense of well-being that I was totally unaware of, that sort of healing modality had brought to the surface. And so and then I trained up with Reiki modalities did my Reiki 1 in 2004, and my whole world just opened up in terms of my level of awareness of myself, my body, how I thought. It's quite difficult to put it into words. And I suppose that was really when I started sort of waking up beyond the things that I've been taught in my lifetime up until then. And I was around, I think, about 28 at that point in time. So I think that was the beginning point of a significant shift in terms of having more awareness of myself, my needs, and how things worked. I think that would be a good starting point to share.
Amazing. So then what happened more recently? Tell us about your experience in the lockdown. I know we all had a bit of a, forced good chance to have a look at our own health and what came up during that time, because it was for me, it was so much fear, anxiety, worry, and having my business and the menopause all colliding at one point. It's oh my God. Okay, so really feel like the big guns in everything that I know, which included essential oils and Reiki and energy and meditation and, you know, affirmation work and all the gut healing and everything, like pull it
Yeah.
all out, you know.
Yeah.
I had a panic attack in January 2021, first ever, like, oh my God, like right smack bang in the middle of having to homeschool, pivot the business in the menopause, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell us about that side of things.
Sure. Okay, so I'll fast forward. So to get to that point, I'll fast forward another bit of health journey, which puts it into context what happens at that point in time in terms of lockdown, if that's okay, because that'll help sort of give everybody a little bit more of an understanding. I tend to deep dive into things. It's just like, you know, if I'm going to go for it, this might be a bit like you. I really go for it. And so I continued my journey on the healing arts front, but then I trained up in 2008 with the most extraordinary coaching company and learned accelerated learning techniques to help people overcome kind of blocks in the mental or emotional field so that they could really consciously create the lives that they wanted to live. But the big part of my journey was the food aspect. Nutrition was missing. My degree was food marketing economics. There was no nutrition in it. I was a farmer's daughter, brought up on homemade, you know, homegrown food, all that type of thing. And in 2010, sorry, I had a nervous breakdown. I recovered from it very quickly. Part of that was with juicing. So I'm gonna just quickly go over the surface so kind of people understand the potted history of the journey. I had a nervous breakdown in 2008, left my marriage in 2010. That was part of the build up to the marriage breakdown, and ended up being on my knees, literally, financially, emotionally. I'd lost my home, I'd lost my business, I lost my car. I was just determined to keep my daughter, and which is what happened. And so there was a lot going on, but I had, like you, a huge range of tools to bring me back into balance. And one of those tools that I had was my Rise to Shine practice. It was a combination of all the coaching techniques that I used to use with my clients and all of my Reiki, that type of thing, yoga, meditation, etc., etc., etc. And it helped me stay in a deep sense of balance and trust when everything on the outside of me seemed to be going into chaos at times of massive change and uncertainty, and coming out of sort of recovering very, very naturally from a nervous breakdown with no medication, only natural healthcare through kinesiology, nutrition, yoga, meditation, and my practice. And so then moving forward, as I was coming out of that, my kinesiologist identified that I had cancerous cell growth on my breast. It looked like it was really ugly. It was like a mini cauliflower kind of protruding out here, and I was just ignoring it. My friend said, I think you should get that checked. So I went to see my kinesiologist, said, that's cancerous cells. Went to the NHS, they checked it, and they were like, they looked like cancerous cells. I said, okay, give me 6 weeks. I said, how long until you're going to start, you know, taking, you know, doing some invasive stuff? They said, you've got 6 weeks. And I said, give me 4 and I'll clear it. He just looked at me really strange.
He's like, oh yeah, right. Yeah, heard this one before.
Trish, do you ever get times where you have a knowing? And it was like, so what was happening was my digestion had already failed during the last 2 years because of being inside a really deeply stressful divorce process, probably because I'd been eating the wrong things as well. Didn't have the education about how to take care of my gut. And so my body was already alkalized, and I had already been taking care of my gut under the guidance of kinesiologist and nutritionist. So that was already in place. And I already knew from my work of working with people on the mental, emotional bodies of the deep-rooted connection between illness on the physical plane and mental emotion connection. So I just deep dived into my meditation, and I just said, okay, Cancer, let's make friends with you. What have you come to tell me? What would you love me to know that I need to get? And it was really simple. I very quickly was shown a trauma point in my childhood when I was abused. And I did a really quick, because I could do that, at a quick NLP coaching process on myself to understand what the message was, what my subconscious had what meaning my being had given that. And it was that I was unlovable. I had no idea. So bearing in mind, it's like 30 years later. So I was shown the wiring in the neurology of the thought process and the emotions that were going on. So I've been playing that out for 30 years, that I was unlovable, and I didn't know it. And so I just asked, okay, what do I need to do in order to change that? And I was shown 40 days and 40 nights of doing my favorite things and continuing that process, particularly with my nutrition, staying connected to incredible natural healthcare therapists who would just be part of my journey moving forward, jumping in the sea, doing winter sea swimming, going out and giving myself time to read a book after after divorce, and not giving myself very much time, and literally pretty much being on my knees financially. And so then in 2016 I thought, right, I'm ready to get out here now and start coaching people again. And I tested the Rise to Shine practice, which is my self-coaching practice, which is what I do every morning to help me stay in alignment even when the rest of the world might seem like it's going crazy. And that's what I did, and that's when I started sharing it and online, when I wasn't very techy, and 108 people turned up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So in answer to your question, what do I do as my every day to keep sort of calm and centered? I do my Rise to Shine practice, which has kind of been the backbone practice to get me, as I've been traveling through this very interesting journey over the last, particularly, well, I suppose since 2008. So, and when it came to lockdown, what happened was, or just leading up to lockdown, I was given some I'm an intuitive coach. And so what happens is on my favorite days, I'll give myself 2 hours in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock, so that I'm connected to the ambrosial hours. And I channel, and I will get my guidance from the divine, in terms of from myself, and from a little bit more than myself as well, in terms of what I'll check in with, what my mental body wants, my emotional body wants, my physical body, and usually really simple answers come back. And just before lockdown, what happened? So when I went live 2016, started sharing my practice, went global overnight. So I had like 108 people at 5 o'clock in the morning, all from countries all over the world, sort of, and the feedback was absolutely extraordinary. And so I have just continued with my journey in terms of teaching more people, but now taking it to the next level of accreditation and sharing that wider, because it helps you feel fantastic, gets you really clear on where you're at. It's like we can wake up in the morning and have no idea what's going on for us, but I'm guessing that many of those who are within your group are really aware of their health and are taking steps to live in optimal health. For me, my morning routine, even if sometimes my nutrition will go out of the window, my morning routine will keep me absolutely solid and clear about what my next step is, so that I don't go into overwhelm. I have to really rein myself in sometimes, because taking sort of this work to the next level, there's a lot to it. So I went internationally overnight, did that for 4 years, wrote my book called Freedom, which is Breakthrough Limitations, Tap into Truth, Live Your Purpose. And then my daughter called me home, and this wasn't long before lockdown. She's like, come on, mum, I don't want to be in boarding school anymore. I gave her the choice to kind of like, hey, come on, ditch school, come to Cyprus for a year with me. She didn't want to do it. And I was like, I knew I had to go and write my book. It was a very cathartic experience. And so I did all of that. And then just as that leading up time towards lockdown, I felt like I'd done 10 years work in about 2 years. And between getting my work out there, doing the book, my daughter said, come home, mum. And so I did. Lockdown then happened, and I had a really interesting experience. My guidance was, come offline and take care of your family, because you know what to do. And I'm really, at that time, I'd moved back to my parents' farm in West Wales. And so I was very lucky, because I was surrounded by a bubble of family on our family farm. And I just had to go into a deep state of trust. And for me, what was extraordinary, Trish, was connecting straight through. I don't read very much. I don't listen to the news. I don't watch TV. I haven't for years and years. It gives me spaciousness to channel. And I'm very clear about what my purpose is in this life. That's what I help people do. and to help them get on their track or progress being on their purpose. And I was like, okay, is that it? I've got to suddenly unplug myself from being online and plug into myself at an even deeper level. And I was just like, I just connected with those who knew more than me on the health front. And I just picked the phone up and I was like, what do I need as a protocol and to prepare me to make sure my immune system's okay? And my family, my mum, my dad, my brother, my sister, everybody. That was kind of I felt like I was frontliney type in the background kind of health person, even though I'm not the qualified nutritionist and the this and the that, but the amount of wisdom that I've learned and integrated over the last 10 years as a result of needing to get my health back on track meant that I'm really connected to people that I trust and value their wisdom. And so that's what I did. And it got really frustrating. By December 2020, I was saying, this is ridiculous. I now feel like I'm supposed to remove all my clients. I had sort of about 25 clients in a group who I was kind of like supporting through, and I was like, I've got to release all of my clients. This is really okay, going into another level of trust. And what that did was it gave the scope for it's time to do the event and bring all of this wisdom together. I've got one piece of the jigsaw in terms of that, how to get yourself into alignment every morning and feel great, creating a really great routine. And I was getting really frustrated. Frustrated with, and I don't know if you had the same experience, really frustrated of what I could see. And I was at my parents' farm and I was like, they're watching TV all the time. And I was like, something's fishy. What's going on?
Yeah.
Why are they not talking or focusing on how to build your immune system and the power of connection and getting outside and getting your vitamin D? And I was like, this isn't making any sense to me. It's totally counterintuitive. So I was on the phone to my friends going, there's something really strange. Who can I phone in the BBC? Say, guys, you need to be speaking to amazing nutritionists. You need to be speaking to this person. You need to be speaking. And I was guided, no, it's not the time. I'm a small fish in a big pond and my voice won't be heard. And so I was like, I was seeing all these people who were stuck in high rises and this, that, and the other. And I was like, this is horrific.
Let's talk about the event, because I know we've only got a short window of time to tell people about this event and what is it, where is it, and why they should be there.
Okay, I can tell you that now. So what I've given you is the potted history of where the events come from, which is following my true guidance of now is the time to bring together an extraordinary team of highly professional, skilled natural healthcare practitioners who can really make a difference, inspire and give people simple takeaways that can literally unlock huge health benefits moving forward and build resilience. I'm one part of the jigsaw in terms of my practice and my trust in that. To have greater, I haven't got doing my work. It, like I said, is one part of the jigsaw, but it's not the whole. And so I see that my role is bringing everybody together. So the event is in the International Convention Centre in Newport, South Wales. It's right on the edge of England, not far from Bristol. It's an amazing venue. I feel excited every time I think about it. It's probably the biggest thing I've ever done in my life, but I feel so strongly about it that people need people who are ready to take their health and life experience to the next level. There's know-how, and of how to do that. And so it's in October on Saturday the 22nd and Sunday the 23rd. It's a 2-day immersive experience where literally I take everybody through my practice, which it's like a reset. And it's like resetting you to thrive mode, and then to experience all the other wisdom of those that are there. It's going to be quite interactive. And a lot of the people who I've invited are characters in my book, Freedom, and they are people who have helped me with my health journey. And I feel they need to be on the stage because they have some extraordinary things to share, or they represent a modality that has had a huge impact on my life and my life experience. And a lot of people don't know about it. And it can just be that 2 millimeter shift when you meet the right person or the new technique. It can change everything. And that's it.
Open the doorway. Fantastic.
Yes.
So what we're going to do after this live, I'm going to put a link into the event below. And we are going to have a special code to give you a discount off coming to the event. I'm going to be there. There's going to be a ton of really amazing people there. Leah's going to be there. I'll tag her in this event. Oh my God, amazing. You know, and looking at the caliber of speakers, I know some of them already. I know some of you definitely know a lot about the modalities. And I think, goodness, you know, what a great range for inspiring and motivating you to take your health to the next level. So I would love to see you there. Rachel would love to see you there. Leah would love to see you there. And so come along, please make the opportunity. And even if you have to jump in the car and travel a couple of hours to get to this event, I really encourage you to do so. So Rachel, thank you so much for coming on. A little bit of a story, a little bit of a snapshot of your story, which I think, you know, I'm looking forward to hearing more about on the weekend. And yeah, and we'd love to see you there. So if you've got any questions, I'm sure Rachel will be happy to answer them in the thread below as well. Sure. You know, so if you're not sure, whatever, please ask some questions, and we would love to see you there. And Rachel, thanks so much for your time.
Trish, thank you so much for having me. Brilliant.
It's brilliant. Okay, we'll see you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.